The biggest trends of 2025. The first trend that is coming in full force in 2025 is the ladylike style, even mentioned by some of the followers here. This style is simply pure elegance. It combines various more elegant silhouettes with very refined details. It's that feminine style but with a slightly more classic, slightly more traditional touch, which also resembles the prep style. This style usually includes flared skirts, blouses that may have some detail like a boa, more traditional bow, okay girls, cinched waist dresses. The idea here is to create a more modern look but with that little classic touch. You can, for example, pair a pleated midi skirt with a silk blouse and shoes that, within this style, usually have a slightly lower heel. It's also not common to wear platform shoes or any kind of footwear that is too flashy or too heavy. The goal here is to maintain softness, for instance, by incorporating slightly more discreet, delicate, and traditional accessories, such as pearls. When it comes to handbags, I think they pair very well with structured bags, as they complement the outfit beautifully. I also like to add softer tones to this type of look. So, I really like a lighter pink, blue, cream, or a softer brown. This doesn't mean you can't invest in slightly stronger colors or in black, which is traditional. But since we're talking not about classic traditional style, but rather the ladylike style, it pairs better with soft tones. Blush pink and ice blue, which are even on the 2025 color trend lists, will fit perfectly into the aesthetic of this style. It is a super elegant and refined style for a woman who enjoys a lot of femininity but doesn't like the femininity of puff sleeve blouses or the femininity associated with floral prints. So, let's say it's a little less romantic and a little more classic. I highly recommend this look for women who feel lost because they love a very classic style. They like that Chanel-like vibe, but at the same time, they enjoy a touch of pink or a light shade. I think, in this case, this style fits beautifully, and I highly recommend it because it's feminine but not frilly, which might be what's bothering you. Number 2 is the thrift store maximalist style. I found this style simply amazing. What it does is combine maximalism but with pieces that don't exactly fit together perfectly. These aren't the kinds of pieces you would naturally think would match. It's a maximalism heavily inspired by the thrift store aesthetic, so it brings together completely different elements. For example, there's a bold mix of prints. You might suddenly see polka dots paired with zebra print and leopard print at the same time. It's a very daring combination. I especially recommend it for women with a more creative aesthetic. If you are someone who loves neutrals and minimalism, you might feel a bit overwhelmed. In this case, I suggest starting with accessories so you don't have to completely change your wardrobe. Since they are accessories, you can also buy them at a thrift store. That way, you can mix accessories, see if you like what you're seeing, and then move on to clothing. When it comes to clothing, what we'll see are mixes of prints, textures, and color-soon expected combinations. For example, you might see a faux fur coat paired with a highly vibrant outfit underneath, or a super printed dress, usually adorned with large, eye-catching, maximalist accessories. Not everyone will know how to balance this, and some may end up feeling like a Christmas tree with too much going on. So that's why I recommend that if you want to get into this more maximalist style, start with accessories. You can find necklaces and bracelets on Shein, for example, that aren't expensive, usually made of steel, whether in silver, rose gold, or gold-plated steel. You can start with around R50 and buy a bunch, giving you that maximalist boldness without spending too much money. Another option, as I mentioned, is thrift stores, where you'll find a huge variety of accessories that you can mix and match. My tip is, if you're new to the idea of maximalism, match all your metals either all gold or all silver. This alone will bring more harmony to your look. Another tip is to coordinate tones. Instead of pairing brown with yellow, match brown with cream, which is closer in shade. Instead of combining black with hot pink, pair black with gray or white, which is a more common combination. Avoid mixing very different colors if you don't have experience with it, as you'll likely feel a bit overwhelmed. Now, if you already have a creative style and are into maximalism, you can mix freely because you'll have the intuition to do it in a balanced and harmonious way, making the look truly interesting. Number 3 is the trend of the new neutrals. These new neutrals step away from the traditional neutral tones we're used to. Typically, when we think of neutrals, we see a lot of white, black, brown for warmer palette scheme. This is especially noticeable in accessories. For example, when shopping for shoes, what do we usually see? Black shoes, off-white shoes, white shoes, brown shoes, or at most, a little cream-colored option. These are the usual neutral colors. But when we talk about new neutrals, we're including shades that have a richer, more varied palette, almost a more flavorful feel, as they bring to mind food-related hues. So, what will we see? Caramel, a beautiful shade with a warm, cozy feel that works well in winter but also adapts wonderfully to summer. Chocolate, ranging from a deep dark chocolate brown to a milk chocolate tone, which is softer and more delicate. Yellows, from a vibrant, radiant yellow to a soft butter yellow, which I've already mentioned on the channel. Burgundy, wine, which has proven to be a super interesting neutral. In fact, I think it's stunning. One thing I find absolutely beautiful is a woman wearing a coordinated outfit with a burgundy bag and burgundy shoes. It looks refined, chic, and adds a creative touch, breaking away from the usual. So why not swap that basic black bag for a gorgeous chocolate brown, caramel, or burgundy one? It looks absolutely stunning. Even though these shades are a bit different from the usual neutrals, they are incredibly versatile. They pair effortlessly with other colors and allow for sophisticated combinations. So, don't worry about the look being too bold, it will be elegant. For example, you can create a monochromatic caramel-toned outfit, a knit sweater, a pencil skirt, and knee-high boots, all in similar shades. Imagine this full caramel-toned look. It's incredibly elegant, contemporary, and gives off a warm, inviting vibe. It's almost like savoring a dessert, because these colors evoke a sense of comfort and richness, just like butter yellow, wine-inspired burgundy, caramel, and chocolate. What a delicious outfit! Number 4 is metallics and sparkles. If you think that metallics and sparkles would be limited to small details, like a necklace or earring, think again. What we will see are entire looks filled with crystals, metallic applications, whether on clothing or accessories. These fabrics with a slightly more metallic look, and these sparkling details, bring a slightly more futuristic touch, but at the same time, they keep a foot on the ground. So it's not that 2001, A Space Odyssey kind of futuristic. No, it's more like we are already living in the future, and the future is now. To incorporate this trend in a balanced way into your wardrobe, I recommend that you choose a metallic statement piece. For example, it could be a skirt with silver applications or a blouse with sequins. You can include this piece as the focal point and then keep the rest more subdued. Avoid creating a full look packed with sparkle, studs, and metallic applications because it might look over the top. Choose either a skirt or a blouse, and of course, you can start with accessories. I always love starting trends with accessories. For example, we're seeing boots with studded details. You could start with that. Or even a piece with eyelet applications, like a cuff bracelet with eyelets. It looks super interesting. I really like starting small because if you regret it, you can sell or donate the piece much more easily. If you want to incorporate sparkle or metallics into your wardrobe in a more sophisticated way, I recommend sequins. Sequins look beautiful, and we can use them more easily in everyday settings. But I suggest that, for everyday or work environments, a sequin blouse is a great option. Now, for a party, you can be bolder and wear a full sequin dress. Avoid going for a fully sequin look unless you're going to a party because it might be too heavy. Number 5 is the feminine style. This style is, as I mentioned, more traditional in the ladylike sense. However, this more feminine trend includes many ultra-feminine items. It will be very delicate, with lots of lace, frills, and fluid fabrics. The idea here is really to bring an ultra-feminine touch. So, we'll see colors that lean toward pink, soft blues, mauves, and also soft yellows. The idea is to bring delicacy and romance. We'll see a lot of chiffon dresses, because these dresses usually combine floral prints with sheer fabric, creating an ethereal transparency, almost like in a fairy tale. How can you incorporate this into your look? A chiffon dress, as I mentioned, or a chiffon blouse looks wonderful when paired with delicate strappy sandals to maintain that lightness. Avoid pairing these accessories with very heavy pieces. For example, a chunky sole shoe won't work well here unless you're being creative, but in that case, you're stepping away from this trend. So, always opt for delicate, thin-strapped sandals and a small bag. Avoid large bags, though big bags are in fashion. They clash with this romantic look. And of course, you always have to keep in mind that romance is the main point of this aesthetic. So, puffed sleeves and anything more rounded and softer will work well. The aesthetic of this style and trend is more delicate and subtle. It's elegant, but in a sweet way. It's not that classic elegance, it's really sweet. Almost like you're seeing a candy or ice cream. Keep this in mind when embracing this trend. And today, I want to know, do you have a style? Do you follow any ideas or trends or not? Let me know here in the comments, and you know that you help me a lot by using those magic words of the day, which are magic trends. You help me a lot to keep bringing videos to you every day. So, I count on your comment, and while you do that, we'll continue with the video. Number 6 is a very recent trend, which is the highlight on the legs. This trend includes pieces, mainly pants and skirts, that are different. So, they are pieces with some innovative detail or something unique. And precisely because of that, they work as the central piece of the look. So what do? We put on a different pair of pants, and then the rest of the look is a little more neutral because the highlight is on the bottom. How do we understand these different pieces? They are pieces with slits, different slits, with tie details, with differentiated volumes, prints. Recently, for example, I showed printed leopard jeans here on the channel. This type of jeans works as a piece for the trend of different pants. You can even combine very traditional pieces, like a tailored pair of pants with a slit, and that's very interesting. Why? Because you can take a tailored pant that you already have, take it to your tailor, and ask them to add a slit. That way, you don't even have to spend money to follow this trend. How cool is that? What I really like about this trend is that we can customize what we already have, and that makes everything much more interesting. Another idea is that, since it's a standout piece, I think the shoe or heel should match. For example, if you're wearing a tailored piece with a slit, I think it looks amazing with a very pointed stiletto heel. If you're wearing printed jeans, I think it looks beautiful with sneakers or even with combat boots. It looks amazing because it highlights the bottom part. So, it's no use picking a really different pair of pants or a skirt and wearing them with a dull shoe, because then you won't be highlighting the bottom. The idea here is to highlight the entire bottom part of your look. Number 7 is the trend of differentiated minimalism, which I like to call essentialism. This trend is very interesting because what we've seen in recent years was the traditional minimalism. We would see a lot of black and white combinations, right? We would see this combination very strongly. We would also see a lot of gray, which is still in fashion, but things sometimes end up being a bit dull. It feels like everyone has the same minimalist wardrobe, you know? And when we talk about essentialism, we're not talking about those traditional minimalism pieces, but rather about unique pieces. So when we think about essentialism, what we're thinking of is not a regular white sneaker, but a white sneaker that has something unique about it. It could have a little detail or finish. It could even have a combination of materials. So, it's not just a plain white leather sneaker. It might have suede along with the smooth leather. That already adds a special touch. When we think about a bag, it's not just any bag, it's a minimalist bag, but it has something different. Perhaps the shape, like in the case of rounded bags, those circular bags. This type of bag has a different shape, a different structure. I think the key to essentialism is attention to detail. So we're talking about a trend that doesn't seek the minimum. It seeks the essential. And the essential is different for me, different for you, different according to our lives, and different according to our day-to-day. In minimalism, I think fashion often closed itself in a box. Only this can work. Only this type of pants. Only this type of shoe. But in essentialism, no. What's essential for me? For me, having a comfortable sneaker might be much more essential because of my lifestyle. For you, the essential might be a stiletto, a slingback. It could be that these pieces are essential for your lifestyle. So, I think that's what's most interesting about this trend. It's a different trend. It's a trend that has modernity, it's elegant, it's charming, but it's not bland, it's not tasteless, it has flavor. I think it's divine. You are checking out several examples there. I'm sure you will get inspired. Number 8 is the transparency trend. The transparency trend is very interesting because it appeared in most of the fashion shows I saw. And this transparency is usually associated with a more fluid fabric. So, we're not talking about that transparency we often saw, like a dress, with a small transparent detail near the bust to create a closure. It's not a transparency that comes through the whole look. It's a full transparent dress, but with that very fluid, almost ethereal touch, like a fairy. I think this transparency is absolutely wonderful. It goes really well with the boho style. which is also a very strong trend for 2025 and even for 2026. It creates a very interesting, bold look. But it doesn't need to be overly bold. This transparency can even come with a lining on the bottom, and it plays a lot with layers and texture. The transparency for 2025 and 2026 will not be that simple one I mentioned earlier. It will be very much about texture, layers, and ruffles. In fact, in Chloe's fashion shows, this kind of transparency is always present. I'm absolutely in love with it. I think it's one of the most beautiful things I've seen recently in fashion shows. These pieces really bring that ethereal, feminine touch, but in a different way. It's wonderful. It's magical. It feels like a fairy. I would call it fairy transparency because of the peace and the nature vibe that this trend conveys. And if you're enjoying this video, you're gonna love all the videos here on the channel because we post new videos every day. We always upload at 7 p.m. on our English channel and at 8 p.m. on our Portuguese channel. So, just check it out according to your preference. To do that, subscribe and activate the bell so YouTube will notify you whenever a new video comes out, made with all the care for you. While you subscribe, we continue with the video. Number 9. Speaking of trends that appeared a lot in fashion shows, we have capes. Capes have reappeared as a key piece. They bring a very distinct, charming touch of elegance. I think it's a piece that's really nice to wear because it embraces you. It feels like a hug. I think it's wonderful. It brings a super feminine touch while being elegant at the same time. In fact, the cape could be one of the accessories you'll use in our number 1 trend, right? The Le look trend. So you can associate it because it's very traditional and will usually come structured in 2025 with a neutral tone, so we can easily pair it with other pieces. One combination I saw in 2024 was pairing a very fluid, ethereal dress with a leather cape. Guys, I was totally in love with that look, and I think it works really well even when we combine the cape with a super fluid, feminine dress. It just works, and that's what I think is amazing. My tip is to pair this cape with other accessories you already wear. So, if all your shoes are black, get a black cape. And you don't need to buy a gigantic cape, okay? We're talking here about a slightly shorter cape, bringing a very calm, very basic look that we can even wear daily. I think this piece is amazing, especially for rainy days. So, if you have the opportunity to invest in one made of leather or a material that mimics leather, it will protect you a lot in this kind of situation. If you live in areas where it rains a lot, it's not only elegant but also very functional. I think it's versatile. I think it fits both formal and informal occasions, but if you already have that more traditional style, I think it's perfect for you. And if you like the boho style, know that it also pairs well, especially if it comes in slightly earthier tones, like brown or cream, or even a more grayish tone, but always a bit warmer. It will pair very well with this piece. Number 10 is the sports trend. We'll see a lot of these pieces now in 2025 and 2026. What's interesting about this trend is that it combines some sporty details. For example, you may have already seen that many jackets are being associated with basketball or elements related to running. You'll see a lot of these pieces. Just yesterday, when I was at the mall, I noticed this trend, especially with jackets. This sports influence is growing a lot. So, you'll see it in pants. A lot of jogger pants, sneakers. A lot of sneakers, guys. Sneakers making up many outfits. What we're going to see is a combination of these sporty pieces with more traditional elements. So, for example, a sneaker, leggings, and a blazer. We're going to see a lot of that. Or even that super sporty bomber jacket with a pleated skirt, we'll see that too. Sneakers, as I mentioned, I don't even need to say it, they're going to appear. They're going to be a huge focus. I believe that soon I'll be bringing a video about the 2 main sneakers. Let me know if you're interested because I can bring it. I brought it not long ago, and I think it's very interesting, especially for those who like a more casual style. Personally, I'm in a slightly more casual style at the moment. I've let go of the elegant style a bit because it was starting to bore me. So, personally, right now, even though I still find the elegant style beautiful, I'm incorporating items more focused on the casual style. So, that looser t-shirt, more different, creative, and sporty pieces are making up more of my day-to-day look. So, know that you don't have to be stuck in any style, okay? The important thing is to know what to wear for each occasion. You're not going to wear jeans to a wedding, and you're not going to wear a wedding dress to the beach. Taking into consideration the place, the time, what we're celebrating, what we're going to do at that place, we can put together the perfect look. Okay, girls? So don't get scared of the sporty style. It may not be your style, but it's coming with strength. And if you like it, if you find it interesting, you can grab one or two pieces. You can add something that you think is cool. It could just be a jacket. What's interesting about fashion is that it's about being creative and putting together looks with our personality. You know that, for me, personal style is the most important thing. And I think the most practical way to show your personal style is through tops, because they're the first piece we usually look at when we glance at someone. And that's why I brought the video with tops that are in fashion this season. So don't waste any time. Just click on that video showing up on your screen, and I'll be waiting for you there.